Lance Reddick has sadly passed away at the age of 60 from natural causes. Those are the facts that I have as of writing. He was a prolific actor across film, television and video games, and he's gone too soon, no doubt about that. With many big franchises and series now left up in the air a little bit because of this loss. I'm not going to focus on that today though. It's a worthy discussion, but I think it's better to celebrate the man and his work before talking about what happens going forward. So, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to talk a little about some of the key work he did, what I thought of it, and him. Starting with The Wire. The Wire is a show I always struggled with. It's a cop show, very grounded and gritty and realistic. Lance played one of the key characters in it and he exuded a sort of gravitas and authority. I can't talk too much about The Wire because I've only actually seen the first few episodes. Like I said, I struggled with it. I might give it another go at some point in the future, although I've tried watching it a few times already and I always stop at the same point. I next noticed Lance in Lost. He wasn't a major character in Lost by any means. In fact, half the time he was there, he never even spoke. He was a strange, mysterious character who kept showing up as an antagonistic, threatening individual, often watching from the distance. He was one of the long-running mysteries in that show, and he showcased his acting skills by not only being able to recite lines and emotion, but to exude personality and presence merely by showing up. I've never watched Fringe beyond the first few episodes, but he's in that too, again playing a sort of authority figure. Across his work in TV, he definitely had a type. He was a character actor, usually playing people of authority, people with attitude and strong presences. He always added a lot to his roles with his personality and his unique, deep voice, making the characters far more engaging than they otherwise would have been. The role that stuck out to me the most in his TV work, perhaps because it's the one I've seen him do the most, is that of Bosch. He didn't play the titular character, but rather the chief of police, again an authority role, and spoilers, he becomes the mayor eventually too. In this role, he goes through a strong range of events, from losing his son, to a divorce, dealing with his career and corruption, balancing the right and the wrong, politics and more. He gets to deal with a lot in Bosch, and he does a great job at it, making his character very imposing and intimidating, with a clear heart and soul beneath all of that. He's a character with depth, a character with layers. One of his last TV roles was that of Albert Wesker in the Netflix Resident Evil series. I can't talk too much about it because I only watched the first episode and I thought it was pretty bad. Lance though was the best thing about it. Albert is an iconic Resident Evil villain, so to see the man as a loving, friendly father in this show was a little strange. Lance managed to make a character who is very unlikable and exaggerated in the games, very likable and relatable in the show. Again, that's only from the first episode. I don't know how that progressed across the season. Speaking of video games though, Lance lent his voice and likeness to many video games over the years. After all, he was a good actor, and he had a very unique look and voice. He was in the Destiny games which I've never played so I cannot comment on, but I understood he had a larger character role in that game series, and I've seen some of the cutscenes with him in. He again delivers very dramatic lines with that iconic voice very well. For me, his best role in video games was that of Silence in the Horizon games. Silence was a very mysterious, intriguing character, a character who always knows more than anyone else, who always stays one step ahead of everyone. He was sort of antagonistic, in a fun way. It was more than just a voice for his role though, it was his likeness too. Silence simply was Lance Reddick, and with Lance's passing, this is probably the biggest question we have going forward. What happens to Silence in the Horizon series, which we know is still going to be going forward? A question for another time. In film, his roles have been less significant, let's say. He is probably best known for the John Wick movies, playing the concierge in the hotel, Charon. He again plays a mysterious character. I always got a sense that there was history to his character, depth that was hidden. I wish we actually got to see a bit more from him in those movies. As of writing, John Wick 4 is about to release, and it's a real shame that Lance passed just 1 week before its release. He was also a villain in The Guest, a smaller action thriller movie that I highly recommend. He's a tough guy. I believe he was some sort of FBI agent. It's been a while since I saw it, so I could be wrong. He manages to be an imposing threat to the main character played by the great Dan Stevens. If Dan wasn't the main character, Lance's character could have been the hero of the movie. It's an interesting one, with Lance playing a good guy who in this case is the bad guy. I have to watch that movie again though because I could be getting some of these details wrong, it has been a while. Those are the roles I knew and loved Lance Reddick for. A very underrated actor, an actor who always brought some depth to his roles despite often being a little typecast, specifically in TV. It's a real shame he passed away and he was far too young. Rest in peace, Lance. And let me know your favourite Lance Reddick role. Offer your own topics of discussion in the comments down below. Subscribe to this channel for more content like this and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Grant Burton. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Sorry this has been a bit of a downer perhaps.